Okay,
There it is.
okay, okay. Now, so tomorrow, I hope I'll send you the recording and the list of pictures, the grouping of pictures, okay, that we're going to use tonight. And just this last thing before we start, which is that the next class is the last class. If you feel that you would like to continue in the spring, I thought that the class would start at the end of February or the beginning of March. And it would be quite wonderful if you could let me know, but it's not crucial. But it might be something that would be nice to know or helpful. So anyway, tonight, I wanted to talk about 3 artists, and what I thought would be that I would introduce one artist, show images, introduce a second artist, show images, introduce a third artist, show images. So why don't you hold your questions or comments till after I finish the first one? Then we'll do the comments, then I'll do the second one, then the third one. So I thought of these 3 artists because I see a connection between the 3. Okay, I see it, but it would be kind of hard to explain, or it takes some explaining. So the first artist is Piero della Francesca. The second artist is Gustave Courbet, and the third artist is Balthus. Okay, so Piero della Francesca, Piero, then della, Della, Francesca, Francesca. So Piero della Francesca lives 1416, this is amazing, to 1492. 1416 to 1492, Piero della Francesca. So Piero is a very special early Renaissance artist. His paintings, many of them are located in Umbria and Tuscany. Some are located in London. I think one is at the Frick Collection in New York. The paintings in London you will see tonight, I believe. But if you wanted to see his paintings that are murals, you would travel in Umbria and Tuscany. And when Renee and I lived in Rome, we put together a Piero trip through Umbria and Tuscany. The forms in his work are very abstract, very simplified, and they have a curious stillness about them. He is very interested in architecture and space. His paints have a matte look, and he works in tempera. They are very enigmatic and mysterious. One could say that his temperament is cool, reticent, slightly withdrawn. Cool, reticent, slightly withdrawn. Like Vermeer and Cézanne, his work is greatly admired by non-objective artists. This is very interesting. His work for non-objective abstract expressionist artist is one of the three artists that they would admire: Cézanne, Vermeer, Piero. He's very interested in mathematics. And the thing that's interesting here is that he leaves being an artist to study mathematics. This is really something. He leaves being an artist to study mathematics. Francis, who's not here now, who I hope will be able to see the recording of this, is a mathematician. So I really thought she would find that interesting. Okay, so let's see if I can do this. Oh, Renee? Hey, Renee?
Which Renee?
How do I do the thing with the pictures?
How do you do what?
How do I get the pictures on? Oh, share screen, share screen,
Yes,
and then do
and then
this,
do that.
then do this, do this.
Yeah.
Do this. Oh, okay, okay. Do you see that now?
But make it so it goes on.
Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave you people here because I'm getting very nervous about all this. And if I see you, I know that you're here. Okay. So this is a very well-known painting of Piero, Piero della Francesca. And there is actually a woman who I think is this man's wife who faces him. And the painting is quite small. I think this painting is located in Urbino, and I think this man was the Duke of Urbino. I think his name was Montefaltro. I think a bullet went through his nose, the upper part of his nose. It's very interesting painting in terms of up close and going way back.
Simon, can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
don't know where my picture is. It's not there, but I thought you said this was a self-portrait.
No, no, not a self-portrait. No,
Okay.
no.
All right.
Lucy, try to press. There's something on the left that says video. Try pressing that.
Okay. I
Okay.
didn't,
Okay, so I'm gonna keep going.
okay, now I'm not there at all, so.
Okay, but you see,
Try hitting the thing that says Zoom.
zoom.
Where's Zoom? Oh,
Might be on the bottom of your screen.
like apps for you, the Zoom experience? I don't see any Zoom at the bottom of the screen.
Lucy,
Huh?
let me keep going and
Yeah, keep going. Don't worry about
okay,
it.
okay, but you could see the pictures, right?
I can see and I can talk and hear.
Okay, okay. So this painting is also, I believe, located in Urbino. And this is an amazing painting. And when we got to Italy, this painting was stolen. This is like a super major painting. It's called The Flagellation. And you could see here the interest in mathematics, perspective, forward and backward. And if you get online and look up Piero, you'll see close-ups of these men, their heads. And the ability of this artist to get the spatial part that's located here and the three men being up close and what's going on back further is like astounding. Again, the mood is very reticent, very inward, and done in tempera paint.
Simon, did they recover the painting or is it gone? You said it was stolen.
It was stolen. It was gone for maybe a year and a half, and then it was recovered. So it is there if you, but check to see if my memory is right, but I think it's in Urbino. Oh, okay. So this painting is located in London, and I believe that there's a detail to come, but it's very matte and very formally oriented. It's not very large. And the way the abstraction goes, you could see in their heads how simplified the forms are. And you see that figure with his hand up behind, that indicates the underpainting. So it looks to me like the drawing was done in a reddish quality, and then this kind of porcelainy light tone is painted over that. There are nice details. I think the slide that I have for the details isn't as good as it could be, but there are nice details of the people singing. Yeah. So this, if you can translate this back into this kind of color, this color is right. This other color is too poppy.
Right.
Right.
Is this painted on wood, Simon?
Yeah, this painted on wood. It's painted on wood panel. It's tempera. And look at the way the landscape goes back into space, and the baby, and so there's something about his work that is very modern and yet also is in that period of time. Okay, let me continue.
Simon, I have a question about the guy raising his hand in the background. Is he
Yeah.
meant to be part of the picture, or is he part of a drawing that wasn't?
I think it's meant to be part of the picture. I don't know why it's unfinished. The most finished, wait a minute. The most finished part are the people singing and the woman praying and the baby and the landscape. But I don't know why it's unfinished. I don't want to make up things. I have no idea why.
You know the name of the painting?
I am sorry, I don't know the name, but I'm pretty sure you could find that out. I just don't know it.
Okay.
Here's a detail, but again, you have to think in your head that the other color looks right.
Right.
So this is this same kind of matted color. And you could see in the heads how simplified the forms are. Again, is painted in tempera. Very simplified forms.
I'm sorry, Simon, what do you mean how simplified the forms are?
What?
What does it mean when you say how simplified the forms are?
Well, you'll see, I have some details of this. Simplified means that much of the detail is taken out, and the forms are down to its essential level, pared down. to an essentialness that is very appealing to a modern mindset. So this line of painting would go right through, say, the artist Ingres and George de la Tour. It's very formal. It's very formal.
Simon,
Yeah.
I have seen that painting in a very small, it's in a very small museum, which you may remember in Italy. I can't remember what the town was. Maybe it was Urbino. But I have to say that the feeling that you get when you're in front of that painting is utterly, I can feel it now. It has stuck with me. And this was a number of years ago when I saw this.
Go ahead.
It was so poignant.
Yeah.
I mean, I have never seen a Christ figure so Christ-like as this one is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just utterly remarkable. And I never thought about the fact that maybe it is the simplicity of the forms
Yes.
that
Yes.
made it so moving.
Yes. Yes. Good point. Good point.
It was the focus on what was happening as opposed to the specifics of the form.
Is this the depiction of the apostle sleeping while he's
Yes,
the night
exactly.
before the Last Supper, right? Or the day of the Last Supper?
Let me keep going.
Please.
Okay, so this one is located in London, and you see the same kind of simplicity of form. I believe I have some details of this. It is almost the form of like a fairy tale. That sounds like a strange word, but some of this kind of form you're going to see later in the work of Balthus. Okay, it's like a quasi fairy tale. Let me keep going. So this is a detail of the painting you just saw. And so for John, who asked that question before, the head is simplified down to the point of the barest of information, the most essential simplified form. And it's idealized, but it's just essential and simplified.
Well, it may be simplified, but it certainly has impact.
Yes,
Emotional impact.
I'm not using simplified as simple-minded. That's
Well, I
not what
didn't say that, but I still don't quite know what you mean by simplified.
yeah, it's essential in form. This one I believe is in Urbino, and I think it might be called The Mute Woman. I think that's what it's called. Now here you can see the heads a little clearer, and you could see how abstracted the heads are, like the woman in the middle and the man on our left of that woman with his arms folded. It is very hard to get that type of abstraction without it being like illustration or just totally flat. So this is not totally flat, but it's very abstract. So this is a very good reproduction, very good color, and you can see the type of abstraction that I'm talking about. Beautiful eyes, very typical Piero eyes. And his dates are remarkable. This is like mid-1400s. And now this is, I believe, is located in Arezzo, which is, I think in Tuscany. It's either in Tuscany or Umbria, but it is very concerned with architecture and with architectural form and space. And the events that take place here, I could not even describe to you, but it didn't even actually seem interesting to me. What seemed interesting was the form. This is, if I'm correct about this, this was a mural in Arezzo. Yeah, this is a larger image of the same thing. And you see these buildings and the buildings in the background. It has a title of something, the True Cross. Okay. And this one I chose because of the form. And the eyes, and it's a pretty clear image of the world of Piero. So I want to make sure we have enough time to do the three. So is there a question?
Are all of his paintings on wood?
Yes, it's all on wood, nothing on canvas, and either wood or fresco on a wall. Tempera painting is generally painted on wood.
So in terms of the way it looks like marbleized quality to this and the background, is that the aging of the paint on the wood, or did he paint it that way?
No, I think it's painted that way. If you remember back to the slides that I showed of the artist in the studio, one of the artists, George Tooker, very influenced by this man's work. And so George Tooker would be influenced by him and by George de la Tour. I'll take one more question or comment, but I'd really like to go further.
Simon, this feels like a silly question, but when you say forms, do you mean the people? Or do you mean all the shapes and all the elements?
Who's speaking?
Kristen.
Oh, Kristen, yeah. No, not just the people, everything. Everything is form oriented. It's like that's the way he sees things. So a formalist or formalism means relying on form to propel the art. It's not really light. It's not really impetuosity. It's really the forms all over the place, in the architecture, in the head, the body, everywhere.
Great, thank you. That is really helpful.
All right, so the next artist is Gustave Courbet. His dates are 1819 to 1877. 1819 to 1877. So he is a very dynamic and sensual proponent of realism, 19th century. Gustave Courbet. His work has great palpability and sensuality. He is a very striking looking man. And when you see the paintings, we're going to start with a grouping of self-portraits. He was seductive, both as a man and as a painter. He does a very large painting called The Artist Studio. Has a long title, but The Artist Studio is the shorter title for the same painting. It's called The Artist Studio, a real allegory summing up 7 years of my artistic and moral life. That painting is about 12 or 14 feet high and about 20 feet wide. And he does that painting as a kind of statement. He gets rejected from some exhibit in Paris. So what he does is he gets very angry about this, and he hires out a space in Paris, and he has an exhibit of this painting and maybe 2 others in this building. The painting consists of a diverse group of friends, colleagues, collectors, the poor, models, and is a kind of memoir. You'll see that coming up. It has all different kinds of paint and textures, especially scumbles. Scumbles is SCUMBLES. SCUMBLES. And then I'm going to continue on to a spectacular and provocative series of nudes of Courbet. His paint has a lot of
Are
texture.
you
texture
showing
and-
these things?
What?
Are you showing these pictures?
No.
No, I'm going to.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so his paint has a great heat to it and texture and very high blood oxygen level. And there is a curious connection between his work and Balthus. So Balthus, his dates are later, but some of Courbet's paintings, some of the ones that I actually like the most, almost seem like they were influenced by Balthus. That can't be, but it almost seems that way. So let me show you Courbet. Oh, here's another, I'm sorry, here's another painting by Piero. Okay, and you could see in the head everything that we were talking about. Oh, and this is a nice detail of the Piero. Oh, sorry. This one,
Yeah.
this one is called the Madonna del Parto, and I think this painting is located also in Tuscany, in a little town called Monterchi, Monterchi, and it's a mural. It was painted on the wall of a small church, very, very, very small. And you have to get the caretaker to open this up for you to see it. And the room that it's in is very small. It's like, it's like the size of a living room. And on one wall, you see this. It's just amazing. The color isn't right here. It's just an amazing painting. And it was painted right there. So there's been some movement to have this painting brought to Florence. And in a way, it would probably be helpful for the painting, but in a way, it's amazing to go and see this in Monterchi. Okay, so I think the next one might be, oh, and here's another one by Piero. Okay, so this is Courbet, self-portrait, and very dramatic and very sensual, and beautiful use of paint and the variety of paint. Now, this is another painting of Courbet, self-portrait, and you could almost make an argument that this man in this painting is the brother of Balthus, who's coming up. Okay, he looks so much like Balthus. It's really amazing. Very striking looking man, and I think I have a detail of this painting as well. Like really outrageous, good looks, quite stunning, and very sensual. This is another one of self-portrait of Courbet. Another self-portrait. And this fascinating one coming up. Courbet. Very interesting use of paint. So a scumble, which he uses a lot, is paint applied opaquely, which doesn't cover entirely the surface below. So it's a weighty paint, but it's applied so that the surface below comes through. So if you see that green down at the bottom part, and you see coming through the green is a sort of brown, that green you could say is scumbled on to that surface. And it's scumbled on to create the optical effect of the green mixing with the brown. He uses that a lot. It's a fascinating painting.
Is it a finished painting?
It's finished and unfinished. It's finished and unfinished. Yes, it's finished. Yeah, yeah. And I think it's quite interesting in its unfinished state.
Oh, yes.
So this is the painting that I told you about, the artist's studio. It's very large. Now, the first time I saw this painting, it was in the Louvre Museum, and it was in a room with the raft of the Medusa. Just unbelievable. That room was simply unbelievable.
Mhm.
Then they moved this picture to a different place, and now this picture is in the d'Orsay Museum. And I have another reproduction of this, which is a little deeper than this, and I think it's actually closer to the other reproduction. Let me see if I could get that. It's closer to this, but I think for the purposes of looking at it, this one is easy to look at. And you could see the big frame it's in. It's an absolutely enormous painting. A very, very egomaniacal painting, but really, really striking. And you see the browns in here and the colors that hit those browns. They're all scumbled colors, so that you see that undercolor through the next layer of paint. So a scumble is not a glaze. A scumble is opaque painting, not thinned down, not transparent painting. It's different. It's thick and impastoed, but you're letting the viewer see the color below. You can see the nude on the right, the right side of him, and the little boy looking up at him. This is really a major painting of the theme of the artist in the studio. It didn't appear in my grouping because I was trying to go from 1900 to 2022. But this is, in that theme, this is a major painting.
Simon, what are we to make of what's going on here?
It's a little difficult to figure out what's going on, but basically it's a memoir of his life. And it's a memoir of the 7-year period.
Okay.
And I think that many of these people could be identified. And I actually have a book on this painting, and it identifies a few people who are collectors, a few people who are fellow artists, a few people who were the poor and downtrodden, a few people who were friends maybe, and it's enormous. It's an enormous painting.
Is the nude and the boy his family? Are they? They're on
No, the nude would be the model and the what's the word for the person who brings you
the muse.
the muse. That's
Mhm.
right. The muse. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Okay.
Let me keep going with Courbet, but you could see this is very centrally painted.
Well, there seems to be.
Simon,
Yeah, go
there's
ahead.
there's another nude. Is that a sculpture on the left or a person hanging on the wall?
It looks like a Christ figure.
On the left.
On the
of
left,
painting.
yes, it looks like something to do with Christ, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Okay, let me just keep going.
Yeah.
So this little section here is very interesting, and they've cut this out of the whole painting to be the cover of this booklet.
Ah.
And of course he's in the middle there painting with his palette, and he's in his studio with all these people. So you could see the sensuality of his paint, and the realization of form is just super, really super. So his period of time is just before Impressionism. And if you want to call this period of time realism, he is like a major exponent of realism. But his work also has a strangeness about it that is not realism. It's something else, but I don't know what you would call it. It's something else. You'll see this soon enough. Now this painting here
Balthus.
looks so much like Balthus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So could he have been influenced by Balthus? That's a funny question, because that's not possible. That's
No.
not possible, but
Vice
yet
versa.
Could it be the other way?
he almost appears to be influenced by the artist Balthus. I think that
Balthus,
I
was
think,
Balthus influenced by him?
Right.
yes, of course,
Yeah.
but I think that this is his sister, but I'm not sure. I think it's his sister. Here's another one. I really
Yeah.
like this painting because it seems
Do
like
you?
he was influenced by Balthus.
Yeah.
Okay, this doesn't make any sense at all, but
Right.
I'm throwing it out to you in the spirit of the evening. Okay. You see the little socks on her,
Mhm.
and the shoes, and the feet that are sort of out of scale, small.
Right, right.
Okay, let's keep going. This woman, I believe, posed for a number of paintings for Courbet. I believe that she was Irish, and she might have been his lover or whatever, but very sensual and beautifully painted. This is a terrific scene, terrific mood, very romantic and very hard to decipher, like what's going on here. Almost feels like a tryst, but hard to really say it's this or this. And that hard to part kind of separates Courbet from straightforward realism. It's hard to sort of say, what is this? I like that a lot, personally. Okay, and the woman's hands, the woman closer to you, her hands and expression are just wonderful. I'm going to keep going. Now, this one, when I was trying to locate these images, I came across this one, and I had never seen this before. And this also has this great sensuality about it, and heat. It's not one that I was looking for, but when I was looking for the ones that I wanted to show, I came across this, and I thought, let me throw this one in as well. And it is a prelude to the next few that you'll see. Okay. This painting is up at the Metropolitan Museum, and it's a painting that when you come into a certain gallery, you see this painting from a distance. And it has many of the distinguished characteristics of Courbet, the sensuality, beautiful form, and the design of space, the design of the rectangle that she sits in, and a clear interest in women or woman, or clearly. But again, hard to really pin down as to what this is, what's going on here.
It looks almost mythological.
Yeah.
The
Yes,
bird.
yes. I think that the woman on the above is the woman we just saw, who I thought might be Irish. So Courbet also had a side of him that was provocative and provocateur, and this clearly fits into that world. Seeing it in 2022 was probably different than seeing it in 1860 or 1865. And it's just a beautiful painting, and quite daring, and again, incredibly sensual, and very Courbet.
Would you call the background scumble?
The background, I can't say in this one. I just don't know enough to say.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, but I just don't know enough. Let me keep going. Now this one, I love in this painting the way he's influenced by Balthus. Okay, this
Stop it.
painting was probably done in 1860. 1860, Balthus, 1950, 1940, 1960, 1970, at least 100 years later. Okay, but this is something. This is really something of a painting. And again, it's to take it to you, take it to the viewer, to upend you, to move you around, shake you up. I think it's just beautiful, and that's just my take. Okay. Again, it looks just like Balthus to me,
Yep.
but it looks like it's been influenced by Balthus, and it's very daring and very provocative, and I am very struck by it. I hope I'm not saying anything to offend anyone, but I find it very striking, and he definitely was pushing it to you. That's my take. That's my
He's
take.
all about the male gaze.
All about the male gaze, but
All about
know,
the male gaze.
okay, I admit that. I'm not going to be a denier. I'm not an election denier, and I'm not a Balthus. I'm not a Courbet denier. Okay, next one. Now, this painting is called The Origin of the World. This painting is located now in the d'Orsay Museum, and it is incredibly hard to do a painting that is very well done but cannot be shown. Okay, in other words, even if you don't like this painting, even if you hate this painting, you have to say this is extremely well done and extremely well understood. And this painting was rarely ever shown. I think it was owned by a Turkish collector who I think commissioned this, a French psychologist, Mike Nichols. Mike Nichols.
Yeah.
I think he owned another painting, but a French collector, Lacan, a French psychologist, and in many shows of Courbet, it could not be shown, could not be exhibited. And I think there was a big show of Courbet at the Brooklyn Museum, and this was not shown. And it is on display at the d'Orsay Museum. And it's interesting to watch people look at this. And I remember spending some time watching people walking into this room, and I saw a man who was walking with his daughter, who looked like a teenager. And the man saw the painting, and he stepped in front of the daughter. They were walking by. He stepped in front of the daughter so that the daughter, if she looked to the left, would see her father, not the painting.
Because she's never seen anything like that. Yes.
So in any case, I would say that you have. I think it's an amazing painting. I think it's totally amazing, but you have the Courbet, all of Courbet's qualities as an artist, the sensuality, the provocateur, and it's put together in an amazing way. And I think that when I was looking for my selection, I came across something which said that they had, I believe I came across this, where they had discovered who the model was for this. And the last thing I could say, which I hope you will think is funny, but it could be considered not funny, is that Courbet, I would think, knew from firsthand observation what he was painting.
Yeah, really.
Anyway, so do you have any questions about Courbet? other than the fact that you hate him.
It's beautiful.
No questions, Renee?
No questions.
Okay, good, good, good. That's what I like. No questions.
Actually, that.
I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna go on. You have
Go
2
on,
minutes to
go
ask
on.
me questions.
All right, I have a comment. I
Yes,
think that if you
Renee?
had,
I'm sorry, this is Rita. Rita, right?
if you had told us that a woman painted this painting, I think we women would have had a slightly different reaction to it.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. No,
Interesting.
no,
point.
absolutely. But Rita, have you seen this before?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah. I think it's stunning, but you know, when I look at this painting, when I saw this painting in I think in the d'Orsay Museum, it really gets to you. You can't look at it for too long. You almost
How big
feel
is it?
like you almost feel like you're going nuts looking at it. I mean, like you're feeling the heat rise and you want to not look at it, but you want to look at it. And I like that a lot. You want to not look at it and look at it. That ambivalence strikes me as very wonderful in works of art. It's almost like Diane Arbus. You want to not look at it, but you
Yeah.
want to look at it.
But it's also like
Part of life. It's a
Maplethorpe.
really part of life. It's,
Maplethorpe does the same, does something like this.
John,
absolutely.
John, speak
I
a
said
little louder.
Maplethorpe does something like this.
Maplethorpe, you said.
Yeah, Maplethorpe, but this is much better, I think. This is, and this painting is so serious. It's not frivolous. It's not offhand. It's really
How big a
serious.
painting is it?
Small, small. It's probably smaller than life size.
Well, it's curious because the body part of it is much smaller than the legs. I mean, it's as if he's
Well, it's
really putting it in your face.
Yeah, but it works in person. Yeah. Anyway, let me keep going. Let me keep going. So next artist is Balthus. And
Yeah, this is
so
the,
Balthus is 1908 to 2001. 1908 to 2001. And he would be one of my 3 favorite relatively contemporary artists. I would, for me, it's not, doesn't mean it's right, but for me, I would list Balthus, Lucian Freud, and Antonio Lopez Garcia, that threesome as my 3. Balthus has a Polish background, but grew up in Paris. And he became the head of the French Academy in Rome. So in Rome, there are 22 different academies, and many of these academies brought artists and writers and poets, sculptors, and so forth to Rome to study classical art. And so the American Academy, same thing, French Academy, same. And the French Academy is extremely beautiful building, extremely, and the American Academy the same. So the prize to go to Rome is called the Rome Prize. And I was lucky to have received that prize. So I went, and the French Academy was restored by Balthus. And the way he restored it was he got the rooms in the French Academy, the exhibition areas and the rooms, to look like his paintings, to have the scumbled, aged quality of his paintings. His work is figurative, but has a kind of modern twist to it, a kind of modern zip to it. His paintings are beautifully composed, and they have a weird, enticing element. He was a very seductive man. My daughter loves his paintings, and I think that she likes them because she liked them from when she was a little kid. She loves his paintings because to her they seem like fairy tales. And if you think of that, when we look at a bunch of his paintings, you'll see what I'm saying. They really are fairy tales, but they're, I guess you would say, weird fairy tales. Like they're fairy tales for adults. He copied Piero. I couldn't find a good image of one of those, but I've seen them, and they're copies of Piero when he's very young, when Balthus is very young. And there is in his work a kind of perversity, but I think that underneath the perversity is very strong painting and a very poetic idea of painting. And as in Courbet, many of the surfaces are scumbled, painted in a particular way, so you see layers and layers and layers of paint. There is a very good book that I read on Balthus, and I recommend this book. It's a very small, short book written by a very interesting writer whose name is Guy Davenport. This book is called A Balthus Notebook, and it's a book on an artist unlike any book I've ever seen. I was very taken with this book, and after a book of mine was published, I ended up sending the book to Guy Davenport. And to my amazement, he wrote back to me an incredible letter about my work and that book. And we corresponded for a while, a good while. Very smart man. And when I corresponded with him, I had to do push-ups and sit-ups. Okay. And then I had to run around the block once or twice. And then I started to write to him, and I was fine. I was fine. But then the next time I had to write to him, I had to do push-ups and sit-ups and run around the block a few more times. Very smart man. Oh, he also wrote another book called The Geography of the Imagination. The Geography of the Imagination. And so the book on Balthus is like a chapbook that a poet would have, but it's full of speculations on who Balthus is. So let me show you some pictures of Balthus. Okay, so here we go. So this girl is almost like the sister of Courbet.
Yes.
And this painting is up at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and it's one of the paintings that a group of women in the last 5 or 8 years have protested about, this painting and another one, and want it removed. I forgot the woman's name I think her name is Therese in the painting. The other thing that I think is interesting about this painting is it's done on cardboard, which strikes me as quite unusual. And the simplification in her head, it makes me think of Piero, and it makes me think a little bit of Cézanne. This is another painting, I think, of the same girl. And these two paintings were the objection of the women who came to the Metropolitan Museum to get rid of these paintings. I think, in my opinion, I mean, I don't mind. You should have your own take on things, whatever you feel. But in my opinion, these paintings are way more complicated than a simple response would evoke, and especially when you see them in person, the use of the paint, the seriousness of it, the whole way it's worked out, and the intimacy with the scene, and this somewhat perverse quality. So it is not necessarily dominated by one direction. It has many different sides to it. Okay. This painting we saw before. This is the one that I thought is connected with Wuthering Heights.
Right.
So this is a self-portrait of Balthus, and I think this is his wife, whose name I forgot at the moment. And I did not include pictures of Balthus, I didn't include pictures of him, but very striking looking fellow who looks like Courbet.
Mhm. This is one.
Very odd
Very.
work, very odd work. Almost looks like a deck of playing cards, like you would see this on a playing card. And the wall behind, for Lucy, the example of scumbling, that would be on that wall. And that is the way he had the interior of the French Academy painted. So it looks like walls in his paintings. It's kind of funny. And it's a beautiful, absolutely beautiful building. These are good sized paintings. These are not small paintings. This one.
There's some similarity to Piero in this thing.
Yes. It's like Piero through, like maybe through LSD, or, through some kind of
No, I don't think so.
Piero having a trip, like the guy, the young man. Look at his back and his head.
Yeah, it's
So
shape.
it's so wild, so crazy. Okay, here we go. So this is self-portrait Balthus. I think this painting is called The King of Cats.
Uh-huh. The cat is very big.
And his legs are very long.
Yes, and thin. Yes.
It's more
Okay.
like a bobcat.
Let me keep going.
Oh, I've seen this painting.
Yeah.
This is in the Madison.
But you could see the way this is set up. It's very well designed. This kind of design is different than Lucian Freud. This kind of design relates to Renaissance, very good design, very good compositions in the Renaissance world. And because of the way the space is used, it's very hieratic, the space. The space is a very big part of his work. And if you look at the woman's head with the reddish shirt on, that head is very similar to Piero. So even in scenes like this, which seem very straight, there's something weird about it. There's something like nutty or odd going on in here. And that to me is very interesting. To me, it's not clear what's happening here. This is a good sized painting, and it is very, if not textured, very meaty in its paint. I think in some way he combines in this painting casein, which is some kind of quasi-tempera with oil. And this painting is modeled after
Matisse.
a room in the French Academy,
Huh.
which has these tiles. Now you see the table and the color on top of the table. That color, it's like a very matte tan. You could see it in the bowl, you could see it in the eggs, and you could see it in the window. That's the color he got the interior of the French Academy to look like.
Mm.
And it's really funny when you go there because it looks like the walls in his paintings. You could see it in the mattress too.
This also reminds me of Matisse.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, I agree. This is probably 70 by 80 inches. It's a good sized painting,
Yeah.
really good sized painting. This painting is located in Chicago, and you could see the same thing about the composition that I've been mentioning so
Yeah.
far. This is very well composed, and you see this line that runs from her foot all the way up to her head. Okay, this is almost like a dance and very alluring.
These poses are also like yoga. They look almost like yoga poses.
Hmm.
He likes to have
That's
faces
talking about.
sideways.
I'm sorry, say it again.
He likes somehow having faces sideways appeals to him.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Must
That's
be
right.
because of the light or
Yes,
something.
yes.
There's another girl.
This painting I reproduced small because I couldn't find in the time I was taking to do this, I couldn't find a large reproduction of this. This is a very large painting, and it's located in the Metropolitan Museum in the area on the bottom floor where they have 20th and 21st century paintings. And I'm going to guess this is about 12, 14 feet wide.
Whoa.
It's a very striking painting, and I think it would characterize the same expression that I've been using so far, which is that it's very clear and very unclear about what is being depicted here. Does a series of paintings of women, and this painting, I believe, was done in the 1930s. And again, as with Courbet, a number of these paintings are very provocative. In this case, it's not a child or it's not a young woman, but a woman, and it's painted very plainly, very simply, but it is, I think, very provocative and very seductive. So here again, you can see the formalistic qualities and the compositional qualities, and a kind of weird shortcutting of forms. The head of the young girl sitting to the side. It's very stylized and weird. But yet, if you get into this, quite compelling I would admit, in some kind of weird way. A good sized painting also, I would guess 6 feet high. Now this painting, I first saw this paint. Wait, just stop for a second. I first saw this painting in Rome. It was in the first exhibit that I saw in Rome. It was an exhibit of foreign artists who were living in Rome. This painting is about 14, 15 feet wide, and is really stunning. The whole back of the painting is the scumbled, dark brown, red, green colors.
Mhm.
And the woman on the bed or the divan or whatever you want to call it is just as weird as anything. And the weirdest part is the dwarf, the
Yes.
dwarfy creature who's opening the shade. And
That's pretty weird too.
it is really quite disturbing. And I didn't have the sense in looking at this to put in a painting of Fuseli that this reminds me of, which the Fuseli shows a woman waking up with a creature on her stomach, and the creature is looking out at you. And but this creature on the side who's opening this curtain, and the whole look of this. So my daughter, very young, then not a little child, a teenager, then not a teenager, a young woman, not then going to be a mature woman. She loves this because to her, it feels like a fairy tale. Okay.
Wow.
Pretty crazy, no?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's very much painted. It's not just an image. It's really, if you look at it in person and someone said to you, do you think this is well painted? Hands down, it's well painted.
But
You might have trouble with the subject matter, but there's no doubt about the fact that it's well painted.
But is there such a thing as a narrative painting?
This would be a narrative painting.
I mean, most of his paintings, seems to me, are narrative paintings.
And they almost seem like they're
Yes,
illustrating.
this would
something.
be a narrative painting, but the point is that what is the narrative?
Correct,
Narrative
yeah.
is unclear. It's unclear.
It looks like the face on her, on the naked model is quite expressive. You can't really see it well here, but it's like his other sideways faces. It seems like the sideways ones are the most expressive ones.
Well,
Whereas
I
up and down ones not so.
I could go with what you're saying, but this is pretty expressive.
Mhm.
No, it is. It's very expressive, but it's sideways. I mean,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
Mhm.
Let me keep going. So this painting is called The Victim, and I would
Ah.
say this is about 6 feet wide. I believe this is about 6 feet wide, and the same use of paint, which is in layers and very sensual, not quite as sensual as Courbet, but quite sensual and
Is she
very
dead?
expressive and moody. And in the lower bottom part of the painting, I think that's a knife.
Is she dead?
She's dead.
Unclear.
It's in a morgue. I think it's in a
Unclear.
morgue.
Yeah, it looks like a morgue to me too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, unclear.
For the victim, yeah.
What
Yeah.
year is this?
Her body,
Unclear.
it looks like it's already changing color.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
The legs are greening and
You see how well composed this is from her hand
Yeah.
to her foot,
Yeah.
and the other foot, the space on the other
got that
foot
line
to
again.
the left-hand edge of this rectangle. It's
Mm,
almost like if you were doing a very beautiful dance photograph where you
Huh.
wanted to get the longest line included
right.
and go for that. So there's a certain elegance of form which is countered by a certain perversity.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to keep going. This is the last one that I thought to show. This painting is, I think, an earlyish painting, cool, in the 1930s, maybe. And I think this painting was hardly ever shown.
I know why too.
Hardly ever shown. And I think that this is the painting that Mike Nichols owned.
Ah,
And
Good God,
I
yeah.
think his wife insisted that he get rid of this painting. His wife, who's
Diane Sawyer's.
Diane Sawyer, yeah, I think she insisted he get rid of this painting, but I think it's an amazing painting, and it is so disorienting to look at this that it almost repeats the painting by Courbet. It almost is a mirror image of that painting. And it's called The Guitar Lesson. It's painted in a very straightforward manner,
yeah.
but it is not straightforward at all.
No.
There are some studies for this painting, drawing studies, where it looks like the woman in the painting is Balthus, a
Oh,
self-portrait of Balthus.
Huh.
What is going on with
Painting,
the
the
woman's
paint-
hand?
The painting, it is said, and I think it's actually so, the painting is said to be influenced by a painting called the Avignon Pietà. And I should have brought a slide of that to show you. Maybe for next week I will. The Avignon Pietà is in the Louvre, and it's a painting where Christ is in the position of the young girl. It's a fantastic painting, and I think this one is as well. It's very rarely shown. I've seen quite a number of exhibits of his work, and the directors of museums, the trustees of museums, the board of directors are very afraid of showing this.
His
So
subject,
do you have a
what do we
question?
make of his
Do you have a
subject?
question? Wait a minute. Do you have a question or comment about Balthus? John?
Yeah, what do people make of his subject? I mean, this is very tantamount to child pornography, you know? I mean, I'm not sure I can understand why people wanted him not to be shown or why these weren't shown, but what do we think he is trying to do here?
I think he's trying to get attention.
Mhm.
very s-
That's what I think he's trying to do. He's trying to upend you.
Well, he's shocking, you know, there's
Yeah.
shock.
It's purposefully shocking.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to say about the Courbet painting, as I would say about this, is that it's very hard to do a painting that is in the world of fine arts but can't be seen. I don't know if I'm being clear, but can't.
Well,
be seen.
yeah, but it's the disturbing quality of it is what, usually when art is disturbing, you look at it and you feel like, well, you're trying to learn something or trying to say something. This is disturbing in a different way. It's disturbing in that it's, I don't know, there's something shocking and sickly about it.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
What's in her right hand, the woman? Is she pulling her hair or has she got something?
No, she's pulling her hair.
She's pulling her hair.
Yeah.
That's even nicer.
Any other questions about Balthus or comments? Carol?
Mhm.
Uh, You could say what you want. I mean, honestly, I mean.
No, I've said it before. I find his paintings, these paintings, very not just disturbing. I think they're pornographic child. They're child pornography. They're abusive. I don't.
I think when you have so many other paintings in the world that are also beautiful, why bother with this stuff?
Well, I think he expressed the issue that he wanted to get attention, and therefore he thought of subjects that would give him the attention. That's what he expressed.
Well, I
He-
think he was
he-
interested in the subjects too.
Bad for somebody who is so talented that he needed to do this to get
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah.
Yes, but he's also, besides the fact that I really like his work, but he's also a very canny individual. So he's also expressed the idea that what is it that people see about the young girls? What are they seeing? There's nothing there to see.
I think there's a
So it's,
lot.
in other words,
see.
he wants to have images that are provocative, but he wants to say, what do people think? They don't seem anything to me. They don't seem provocative.
Oh, you can't say that's not provocative.
Yeah, I don't think.
No,
he was-
not this one, not this one, some of the
I
others.
think the other ones you could say, the other ones look like teenage girls who are innocent and unaware of their poses when they're alone. And, you could say something like that about and they're there's an innocence about the way they're posed. Not all of them, but some of them. But once not this one.
No,
The one
this is
with the one with the girl studying. No, this is very sensual and
right. Not that.
Not that.
Not that. That's a woman. No, back the
going
other
back, keep going back.
further the other way.
No, the other way. Yeah. Keep
Can't get a
going,
word with these
going.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Those,
this
That-
kind of thing and this
that,
kind of thing.
or
These I didn't think were
Not that one.
yeah,
not that
not
one,
that.
but
This
that one. Yeah,
Those,
these ones.
This one.
There's another one too, I think.
But
the
I
first
have a
one.
question. Sorry.
Yeah.
there's one,
This one, this one,
this one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have often said that you want to look at the painting without thinking of the intentionality of the painter in some ways, or I think you said that, like, the painting needs to sort of stand on its own. Besides being shocking, I mean, some of these are beautiful.
Yeah.
But the ones that I think everybody agrees dip into this kind of pornographic fascination, I think I don't know.
well, these are the two that I said that the people who came to the Met wanted to get rid of them. So these seem kind of mild compared to the
Yeah.
ones
There's
later
this-
on.
I
Yeah.
assume that the other ones weren't at the Met. Right.
This one and
They
this
would have,
one.
yeah, really.
Right, but if
This
the other
one,
ones were at the Met,
they
they wouldn't
seem
they would have
mild,
wanted to get rid of them
frankly.
too.
Alan, any take on this?
Well, yeah, I'm just looking at all of these and I think the compositions on every one of these are really incredible.
Yeah,
I really do. I mean, just the way they're set up.
the space is
The
beautiful.
space is beautiful. The way he uses space like that, but also it's just, I don't know, I just find this, really, I really like these in that, that respect.
Alan, interesting thing is, whereas I liked it a lot, Renee hated these, okay? Until there was an exhibit at the Metropolitan Museum, okay, where I said, you should really come to see this in person, not see the reproductions, but see it in person. And we went to the exhibit, and she looked at me at some point in the exhibit and said, I really like these. I'm mistaken. It was very interesting because I think in person they look different, because you could feel the surface and the art part. It's something more than just the image part. It's the art part. I don't know if I'm being clear, but anyway, so I think the time is good. I'm going to send you this grouping. I hope I can figure out how to send it to you. You're going to select 2 pictures for next week and write about them, but you have to send the 2 pictures as soon as you can, because we have to figure out how to put them on the screen here. So you send the 2 choices that you make, then write about it, and write like you did before, 15 or 20 lines, or if you want a little bit more, a little bit less, whatever. And so in the last class, you'll be presenting on the 2 images, and I'll send you the recording tomorrow, a link to the recording, and a link to all the images.
Okay.
So thanks, and
Simon, just one
very-
question, Simon.
yeah.
Do you want us specifically to stick to this exact set of works by these 3 artists, or are other works by these 3 artists?
You could go on to others if you want, but I wanted everyone to at least see these. But if you want to choose others, it's fine with me. But you need to send the reproduction.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 You need to send the reproduction, and you need to back it up with something that you feel honest about and connected with. And if you dislike something, you should dislike it. You don't have to like it. I like all 3 of these, but this one is the most difficult of the 3, the Balthus, I think.
Oh, just briefly, Simon, could you just speak a little bit about your connection from the one to the next to the next? I can see the sensuality
Let's see.
connection of Courbet and Balthus, but I'm not sure where you bring in Della Fresco.
Oh,
You're not sure what?
I'm not sure if you said you saw the 3 of them as thematically connected, and I'm not sure I see how Piero della Francesco, how you see him as thematically connected to the other 2.
I see. Well, that's a good question. I don't see. This is Len, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see Courbet connected with Piero. I don't see that at all. I see Courbet connected with Balthus.
Mhm.
I see Balthus connected with
Piero.
because of a certain simplicity of form. That's what I see.
Right.
So it's kind of a dance with 3 partners, and 2 of them are sort of like each other, and one is a little bit outside, and then they keep dancing, and you see the connections between 2. But I think Courbet is different, but Courbet, the ones that I like of Courbet look like they were influenced by looking at Balthus.
Right.
Any other points or questions? No?
No, thanks.
This has been a really interesting group of classes, really interesting. And these are artists that I've really thought about a lot. And I'm sorry I didn't know some of the names, but I've seen almost all these pictures, all these paintings in person. Anyway, have a good week, and this has been very enjoyable for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Good night.
Okay,
Thanks.
Good night.
all
Good
right.
night.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.